It's a South Carolina game day where it's after a South Carolina game day. You already know what that means. It means it's time to investigate the scene of a crime. And, Jack, we say this jokingly. We have said this jokingly all year long, that we investigate the scene of the crime because we're just on the field after a football game. But today, however, there is a scene to investigate.
This is a literal crime.
Because what we did have here were shrubbery. There were bushes. They are now no more because the fans have stormed the field after South Carolina pulls off a commanding 44-20 upset of the Texas A&M Aggies. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Jack Veltri, as always. And now it's time for us to try to make sense of what the hell just happened here. Why does Williams-Brice Stadium, this beautiful stadium, now look like a war zone? That is because the field storming kind of dictated things a little bit tonight. But, Jack, man, we tried to make sense of what happened tonight. It's a 2020 game at halftime. South Carolina outscores A&M 24-0 in the second half, and it was never the same. And now Shane Beamer, for the first time since the Clemson win in 2022, has a win against a team in the top 10, and this might have dramatically changed this team's outcome or their outlook for the rest of the season.
Yeah, what a great win. What a night in Columbia. Look, I think everyone knew South Carolina had a chance to win this game, but you knew it was going to be tough because A&M has been really, really good this season. But the one thing I've continued to say about this A&M team is we've seen how good they've been this year, but they've never been able to, in their history in the SEC, never been that top dog consistently. Look, they've always been in a situation where they've had good years, but Alabama, LSU, Georgia, teams like that have always been ahead of them. Now they're the top dog, and in their first chance to show what they can do, they went out here and crumbled. So you got to give a lot of credit to South Carolina for playing great defense. Offense stepped up, had an awesome game. But just a really great kind of butt whooping, I guess, for South Carolina.
Built
if you want to put
to
it.
ass.
Yes,
ass
whooping. Honestly,
yeah.
Keeping a PG-13.
Yeah, well, it's PG-13.
There's no way around it, man. This was just a straight up whooping, and it was 20-20 at halftime. But like we have said, and like Shane Beamer said, South Carolina outscored A&M 24-0 in the second half. So credit where it's due. This team stepped up and really looked like a second half team.
Yeah, so where do we start first? Offense or defense? There's so many storylines to go.
I think we got to start with the offense, just because they started out so strong in this game. Then defense second half.
They did, and I think when we talk about this offense, there was really three elements to it tonight. You kind of had like this three-headed monster. You had Lenor Sellers running and passing the ball. You had Josh Simon act as the easy button / safety valve, and then you had Rocket Sanders, who ran over 100 yards tonight, picked up like over 7 yards a carry. And the running game predicated everything else that you did tonight. And while we can talk about the three-headed monster of Simon, Sanders, and Sellers, the offensive line played their best game of the year. And the offensive line's been the one thing that's really held this team back from a lot of games and winning a lot of games, or at least keeping the offense from being as productive as possible. But tonight, Jack Veltri, they got push on the line of scrimmage. They were pulling, and they were blocking on the edge. The wide receivers were blocking. You got so much great run blocking tonight, but by the time the first half ended, you were picking up 7.8 yards per carry as a team. Oh, and guess what? Lenor Sellers didn't get sacked all night. I think the conversation almost begins and ends with the offensive line. I didn't think we'd have a conversation like that, like this, like what we just said, at any point in the year from September through October. But here we are. An offensive line really put it all together, was the more physical unit, and it resulted in a win against a top 10 team.
Yeah, and here's the thing, man. Go back to that first drive of the game on the touchdown Sellers scored. The blocking was tremendous. Like, receivers were blocking, O-line was blocking. Look, everyone gives this offensive line a ton of crap, and I get it, rightfully so. They've given up so many sacks this year. They're probably going to break their mark of last year with 4 games to go, and you'll probably surpass 41 sacks, but who cares? You had a great performance tonight, and when it mattered most, you stepped up. Now, is it going to be like this the rest of the way? We don't know. But the fact of the matter is, when South Carolina gets pushed up front, that was such a big battle in this game, man. All the talk this week is about A&M this, A&M that. Yep. A&M's great on the offensive line. They're great on the defensive line. But South Carolina went out here and won just about every battle it needed to. And in the trenches, you knew your defensive line was going to be good enough to win this game. But could you get enough push up front to get your running backs going? Give Sellers enough time to throw. And boy, they definitely did.
Yeah, oh God, they did. And like we're talking about this offensive production too. Lenor Sellers, even though he didn't get sacked, there were a couple times the pocket broke down. but I think I can maybe count on two hands, Jack Veltri, the time Texas A&M had guys with two hands on Sellers either in the backfield or in the open field, and Lenor broke those tackles. Shane, in the post-game press conference, Coach Beamer mentioned that the emphasis on both sides of the ball, defense was tackling, and offense, it was breaking tackles, and there was not a human being that played on this now torn-up, decrepit football field than Lenor Sellers did tonight. Whether it be in the backfield or in the open field, Lenor Sellers refused to go down and rushed for over 100 yards himself.
I think there was a joke made that he had like baby oil or Vaseline on him or something.
Shout out Jordan K.
Yeah, shout out my boy. But like, it was canola oil.
Yeah.
But the point is, Sellers was just so hard to bring down. And I think that was going to be an X factor. I think I was asked by Terry and Tyler on 107.5 The Game earlier today in the pregame show. You knew Sellers was going to be huge in this game.
Needed to be.
Like a dual threat guy, he's the X factor. When he's on, he's on. And look, he's played so much better lately. I remember a few weeks ago leaving Tuscaloosa, and people are saying, this guy ain't the answer. He's not this. He's not that. He's not the solution. What are we saying now? He is the guy. He's a redshirt freshman doing this. Look, no disrespect to Spencer Rattler or anything, but I don't remember Rattler doing this at this point. You look, and I know he did against Tennessee and stuff, but that was the second to final game of the year. We're in the first week of November, and there are still 4 games to go. Lenor's ceiling is very high, and he's still got, if he wants, 2 years left to play at South Carolina after this and really develop. Like, this is the beginning. And I think a lot of people should be excited about what's to come with him. He is a special player, and when he's on, he is very hard to stop, as we saw tonight.
And there's a couple things when you really start nitpicking that he can improve on, and when he does, he's going to be unstoppable. But when you just look at what he is right now, which is what he's going to be for this 2024 football team, it has improved from week to week to week to week. A little bit of a setback from that Ole Miss game, and I think a lot of that had to do with the injury. I think a lot of that had to do with missing the Akron game. That's a game. That's a whole game full of valuable reps. That was a week full of valuable reps because that came off a bye week. But now he's gotten to finish games, and now he's gotten to get a bye week. He comes into this game right here, and he plays more fearless. I think that's my thing with Lenor. He plays more fearless. He even met DJ Mays one-on-one near the sticks and ran his ass over. He looked like Herschel Walker for a play, man.
That was
He looked like Herschel Walker burying Bill Bates back in the 80s.
Again.
Met him and just ran through him. I think that's a level of fearlessness that we really haven't seen from Lenor Sellers yet in terms of just playing with reckless abandon. And it's taken this offense to the next level. And look, defensively, I think there was a little bit of disappointment with how A&M was able to move the ball at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
But from quarters 3 and 4 on, dude, that A&M rushing attack was no more. They took belt to ass on line of scrimmage.
And here's the excuse that I know everyone's going to make, so I'll make it for you. Le'Veon Moss, out of the game. Okay. He is a huge part of what A&M does as a rushing offense. But he is not the only part. You have Marcel Reed. You have other guys in that running back room. Heck, you have all these 5 stars, 4 stars, whatever.
Kid's a 5-star.
So if you want to make the excuse that Le'Veon Moss is out and it changed the game, go ahead. But there were so many other reasons why A&M lost this game, and South Carolina just dominated the entire game. Mm-hmm. But the fact that you were able to stop the run game was huge. And look, there was a point in that first half where it's like South Carolina's up 14-0, then it becomes 17-6, and then it becomes 20-17 A&M, and you blow another lead. And it's kind of like, ah, man, here we go again. South Carolina back to blowing leads and blowing games, all this and that. Season's over, all this talk. I mean, look, they responded. They finally got the win that they needed. I asked Shane about this. They finally got over that hump. And how is that feeling? It's gratitude for him. And it is a huge, huge win. And this is a big confidence booster. You knew this team was capable of getting the big win. You knew they were going to be able to at some point. They just hadn't been able to finish in these games. Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss, you got your ass whooped. But other than that, man, tonight, you just played a complete game, complimentary football, all 3 phases. Alex Herrera was awesome on special teams, kicking the football.
Those are big points.
That's something that does not get talked about enough. Defense was outstanding, and then the offense. Give your flowers, man. Dow Loggins, I know everyone just loves to talk smack about this dude and all these other guys, but where are they at after tonight? We'll see what happens next week.
That first drive of the game I thought was scripted perfectly.
Was a
perfect script, and that was when he had a week to cook up. and they came out here and they wrecked it. They wrecked it, and it helps when the offensive line plays like the way it did, which is significantly more improved. Jack, I almost called you Jay. I talked to Jay Phillips for 3 hours a day for 5 days a week. But Jack, we look at this team right now, especially in that second half where you stop the run. This defense finally got to do what it was meant to do, which is being the best pass rushing team in the country. When you finally got that lead, when Rocket Sanders broke open that 57-yard touchdown, scoring in that end zone down yonder, then you're able to take the lead for good. You're able to get another score. Then at that point, the defense can pin their ears back and pass rush. The one thing that they do better than everybody else, and I think that was when this game was curtains, when you finally got a 2-score lead, and then Marcel Reed had to face the fury of Dylan Stewart, of Kyle Kennard, of TJ Sanders, all the above. This was the best game this team has played all year long, and this shows the ceiling. So final score, South Carolina 44, Texas A&M 20. Jack, if I told you back in August that South Carolina and Vanderbilt will be meeting on November 9th, potentially as 2 ranked teams,
that's going to be crazy.
You would have called the nearest Alcoholics Anonymous Center and have put me in a class immediately as possible. But that's not the case, because that's reality, right? That is not a hypothetical. That will be a reality. So it's going to be fun breaking down that game.
Yeah. Is there a chance game day? Is there a chance college game? Like, literally, like, is there? I don't even know if college game is announced where it's going. I apologize if there's a better matchup out there.
I mean,
but is there a legit possibility the Vanderbilt Commodores get college game day when the hottest team right now comes to?
I think it almost
Vanderbilt.
depends where Indiana goes, because Indiana
plays Michigan next week.
Ohio
Ohio State's November 23rd. So
that
there is
that one. It will be there for that.
But for next week, I mean, is there a better game? Like, more like,
there might not be.
I don't know, man.
There might not be.
I'm down with it. I'm down with it.
You know, you have put that out there, Jack Veltri.
Hey, college game day, if you're listening, just do it.
You know what? I share your optimism here. I would like to put that out into the ether as well.
Yeah.
That maybe there is a college game day. At the bare minimum, can we get the SEC Now crew out there? Can we get Feinbaum
SEC
taking
Nation.
calls?
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, something.
Let's see
at the bare minimum. But again, South Carolina 44, Texas A&M 20. The Gamecocks take down 10th ranked Texas A&M, previously unbeaten in the SEC, Texas A&M, and now things look a whole lot better. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Jack Veltri. Catch us all on 107.5 The Game, starting at 6 a.m. on Monday with Bill, Preston, Jen, who had a sick view in that press box for the rest of us. She's got a lot of breakdown of this game. Bill and Preston do, all leading all the way up until the last show of the day between me, Jay Phillips from 3 to 6. You can hear Jack on with Tyler every day for the extra point. So there's a lot of coverage. Jack's going to be doing a video, doing a vlog for Gamecock Central tomorrow as well, as always.
That's probably crazy.
So there's a lot of coverage, a lot of reaction. Always give us a call, 803-404-6100. Looking forward to hearing how you got to take in the game tonight, your thoughts on the game and this Gamecock team moving forward. Maybe they have turned a corner on this season.